Let's go ahead and get started with the conversation tonight. Tonight, we are talking about three mistakes that are keeping you from closing high ticket sales and how to fix it. I want to make sure that we have this conversation so that you know exactly how to start attracting and converting high ticket clients. As a business coach, as been a coach for well over 10 years, I have closed several high ticket deals all in one day. I think it's super important that we have the conversation, and I'm going to share with you some mistakes that you could be making in your business when it comes to closing high ticket sales. For today's conversation, we are going to discuss three specific things. Number one, what are high ticket offers? Why your business needs high ticket sales now and consistently, and then number three, the common mistakes that are keeping you from closing high ticket sales. One of the things that I have noticed throughout the last 10 years is that a lot of us are just undercharging. We are educated, we have a ton of expertise, we have so much experience, whether we are still working in corporate and then building our businesses on the side. We have all of this experience. However, we are not charging our worth. And so we are not even paying ourselves at this point. We're not even making enough money to build our team. Okay. And so what we're going to do is talk about some common mistakes that you're making when it comes to closing high ticket sales. I also noticed that some of us were operating with a scarcity mindset. We actually don't know how much to charge. We don't know what the market rates are. And we're also relying on AI to tell us how much to charge, right? And when it comes to AI, we all know that we're living in a day and time where everyone is relying on ChatGPT and Claude AI to give us the information and the strategies that we need to move forward in our businesses. But I'm here to tell you that AI is just what AI is. AI is a robot, right? And so AI cannot tell you how much you should charge when it comes to your offers and making the money that you desire to make in your business. Okay. Only you can determine and decide how much you should be getting paid. Again, it goes back to your expertise. It goes back to your lived experiences. It goes back to your credentials. It goes back to the results that you have generated for your clients. And someone like me, for example, I have helped my clients scale to 10K months. It doesn't make sense for me to charge what I used to charge when I first got started, $75 for a 1 hour coaching session. That just doesn't make any sense, right? In addition to that, I have been in the coaching and consulting industry for well over 10 years. All right. First and foremost, we need to talk about what is a high ticket offer. So, what you need to know is that a high ticket offer is a offer that is priced at $1,000 or more. And there's no psychological pricing involved. Oftentimes, when people are trying to make an offer seem less than what it actually is, you'll see like the price points ending in like sevens and nines. But when it comes to high ticket offers, you typically won't see those psychological price points like the charm pricing that we typically see. When it comes to premium offers, you will see more rounded price points ending in 00. When you think about selling high ticket offers, I want you to think about premium buyers. When you are trying to sell a high ticket offer and close a high ticket sale, you are speaking to a specific type of buyer. And these buyers, they move differently, okay? They operate with an abundant mindset. They are very observant. They value elevated experiences. They desire a specific transformation. They know what they want. If you've ever worked with a high ticket client before or a premium buyer, you'll notice that when they show up to the consultations or the discovery calls, they have a list of questions that they want to ask you. Okay. They know the specific problem that they want solved. Again, they'll show up to the calls with a list of questions, right? Because they have a specific problem that they want addressed. I know that when I first started coaching and when I made my first high ticket sale in one day, it was for $2,500. When I got on the phone with my client, she said, I watched you for 1 year before I decided to book a consultation with you. She was actually on my email list and she's still on my email list today. And then she attended one of my business events that I held a few years ago, she attended the business conference. And then after attending the business conference, she booked a call with me and then she paid me $2,500, part of one of my coaching programs that I offer. Again, it just goes back to my point that premium buyers, they're very observant. They move differently, okay? They're not looking for the cheapest offer in the marketplace. They're not looking for these quick fixes or quick solutions, right? They're looking for something that's more sustainable. Let's get into why your business needs high ticket offers, AKA cash flow today. Here's what I would tell you is that the more money you have, the more you can do in your business, the more you're able to invest in your own personal development, the more you're able to invest in your team and remove yourself as the bottleneck in your business, the more you're able to invest in your team's growth and development, the more you're able to invest in your processes and improve your systems and the ways of working. When you are making more money in your business, you are able to do so much more. You know, we've heard that saying that cash is king, but it truly is. If you're not generating cash flow, not only are you leaving money on the table, but you can't really do what you desire to do in your business because you don't have any money. And that's not sustainable. Now that we know what high ticket offers are, we are going to discuss the common mistakes that are keeping you from closing high ticket sales. And so I actually have 5 mistakes listed, but we're only going to cover 3 tonight. Okay. Let's get into the mistakes that you could be making when it comes to closing high ticket sales. The first mistake is slow to respond. It goes back to my original conversation when I stated that premium clients, they move differently. And part of that is high ticket clients love speed. Every single time I've closed a high ticket sale, it's because I move with speed. I'm not waiting 6 days or 7 days or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month to respond to a potential client. I'm responding within an hour. And so typically when it comes to securing a high ticket client, you want to make sure that you have some type of process and a system in place that allows you to follow up with them almost immediately. Let's get into mistake number 2. The next mistake is not being able to articulate what is going to be the result of them working with you. It is so important that you all have sales calls in your business because during these sales calls, you are level setting with the client. You know, let me get this straight. This is not a coaching call. Okay. It is not a coaching call, but when you jump on these calls, you are actually level setting with a potential client and you are speaking to the transformation that's going to take place when they work with you. You're not just sharing information, right? You're not just speaking to the features of the offer, you are speaking more specifically to the benefits of the offer. You want to make sure that you are able to articulate what is going to be the result of them working with you, especially when you start charging anything that's, in my opinion, $1,000 or more. Last but not least, and this is the most important one because, like, right now, like, let me get into it first. This is the most important one. Mistake number 3 is not having a structured sales call in place. We just talked about not being able to articulate what is going to be the result of them working with you. Mistake number 3 is not having a structured sales call. You should have a sales call process when it comes to meeting with potential clients. Let me say this loud and clear because I don't know what's going on in our day and age where people are just like, hey, DM me to work with me. That's not sustainable and it doesn't work. You need to have a sales call process in place, whether that's including a link in your bio that redirects to your website. And then on your website, you list out your booking process. When we talk about sales calls, a few examples are discovery calls, mini consultations that are about 15 minutes, 20 minutes max, but really 15 minutes. Okay. Paid consultations and free consultations. So, for example, when you are looking to work with me, I offer a paid consultation. When you jump on a call with me, I am actually giving you advice. Again, this is not a coaching call, but this is a chance for me to get to know you, for you to get to know me, for me to share my expectations and how I work with my clients. But it's also a time for me to give you some practical feedback that you can implement immediately. Now, your sales call should have 3 specific parts. It needs to be structured. You should not be jumping on sales calls and just winging it. Again, that's not sustainable. Your sales call should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So let's get into the beginning part of it, okay? And I'm just going to touch briefly on this. First and foremost, when you jump on the sales call, you are unpacking the problem with the potential client. The very first thing that you want to do is address any urgent question. That's the very first thing that you want to do before you get into your spiel, before you get into the investment and how you can work with them in your process and start rambling. You want to make sure that you address and answer any urgent problems or questions that they may have, right? The second thing that you want to do is have a mini diagnostic assessment. This is how I structure my sales calls, okay? You want to understand what the problem is, and you want to also speak to how you can possibly help them. You want to provide a specific solution. And this is where you introduce your specific offer. Number 3, you want to make an offer. You typically want to make the offer towards the tail end of the sales conversation, right? You are going over the payment terms. What you don't want to happen is you jump on these sales calls and you're just all over the place. I've said this over and over again. If you go back and watch any of my previous lives or my trainings, one of the things that I tell my coaching clients all the time is people do business with people they like, know, and trust. One of the main reasons why you want to have these structured sales calls in place is because you want to build trust with the potential client. People are not going to give you their money if they don't trust you. People are not going to give you their money if they can't feel you out, like feel out your personality. If they don't like you, they're not going to spend their money. We have to stop winging it. And I know that for some of us, we're really good about, responding to potential clients whenever they submit an inquiry. We want to automatically pick up the phone and call the potential client to see what they need. But my recommendation is that you always schedule your discovery calls at least 24 hours later because you want to give yourself time to prepare for the discovery call and you want to make sure that you answer all of the questions they have that's listed in your intake forms. Now, if you don't have an intake form, then book a call with me because that's a problem that we need to address. We just addressed 3 common mistakes that are keeping you from closing high ticket sales, and I'm going to quickly go back through those 3 that we discussed. Number 1 is being slow to respond. I cannot tell you how many times I have reached out to someone to book a call with them and I followed their process and I didn't receive anything back. Like I remember a few weeks ago as I've been planning my retreat that I'm hosting in Chattanooga later on this year, I reached out to someone and they followed up with me almost 3 weeks later. By that time, I had already booked someone else to help me with what I needed help with. With that being said, you want to make sure that you are following up in a timely manner. My recommendation is within 24 to 48 hours and you want to make sure that your systems are doing the heavy lifting for you. Number 2, not being able to articulate what is going to be the result of them working with you. Just keep in mind when you are trying to close a high ticket sale, you are speaking to a premium buyer. You want to speak to the transformation and not just the information. A good rule of thumb is if the offer is priced less than $99, you want to speak to the information. You want to just share the features, the details. But when anything is priced over $100, you want to get into speaking to the transformation. And maybe this is something that you have to work on doing. I had to work on speaking to the transformation, which is why it's so important that you practice jumping on sales calls. And then mistake number 3 is not having a structured sales call in place. I recommend hosting free consultations when you're starting out. However, if you're someone who's more seasoned like myself, I do not recommend hosting a free call. I recommend maybe implementing a paid consultation or a paid discovery call. I hope this was helpful for everyone tonight. If you found this helpful, please share this live with someone else. Thank you.